Good afternoon. Hello everyone. Just going to wait and see if I'm definitely recording. Okay. It's a very magical day today. It's 11:11. You might be feeling the energy. So just while I hang on, I'm just going to share this live stream into my group. Just give me one moment. Just give me one moment. I'll see if anyone's hopping on. Share to a group. Okay. I think that's shared. All right, so welcome to today's live stream. Very excited. I wanted to jump on here and talk to you about freedom, how to create freedom in the middle of restrictions, right? So the whole year 2020 has been very restricted. Our businesses have been put on hold. Creativity maybe for you has been put on hold. Our plans definitely. We've had to cancel a lot, right? So given today is 11:11, what we think and focus on and feel and really, decide becomes our reality. So today is particularly potent. It's a lovely, lovely energy, the 11th day of the 11th month. So I wanted to focus today on what we do want to create more of, because wherever we focus, it grows. So if you are not a part of my Facebook group, check out the Awake Revolution, because I'm going to be in there at 5 o'clock today, and I'm going to be pulling the most amazing oracle cards, these ones. They're so powerful, beautiful, magical. It's all about working your light, shining your light, and yeah, just stepping forward. They've got a very magical energy. So I'm going to be doing a whole kind of up to about an hour full on live stream in there. So if you're not a part of my group, come and join if you want that boost of magic today. And you also want to focus on creating the life that you actually came here to create, right? So check that out. But today I wanted to speak to you about creating freedom. So what did I say? 7 steps. What did I call it? I can't even see the title. Yeah, 7 steps to creating freedom for yourself, even if you're experiencing restriction right now. And the reason I'm going to get into the 7 things, the reason I'll just quickly give you a very brief background as to why I'm talking about it, because you may or may not know me, but I've had a real history, my whole sort of a lot of life experience of major restriction. So it's something I know about, and I know that despite what it looks like, what restrictions are all around you, we can go above and beyond it. So I'm really passionate about this because I see a lot of people holding themselves back because of external realities, or thinking and believing certain things because they see it in their reality. And as a human, it's easy to do that, right? But I'm all about seeing above and beyond that, because the reality, the way that we have been taught, is not how our reality really is. We are a lot more powerful and magical than you have ever been taught at school. Some of you watching this are going to know this. You might know this about yourself already, and maybe you are dabbling in understanding more about your true nature. So regardless of where you are, I want to get practical, but also take you deeper into how to do that, because the way I've experienced it is I've always had kind of like restrictions throughout. I had my daughter when I was 18. So she's 21 now, and I love her obviously, but I had a lot of restrictions there, right? I couldn't go out, I couldn't do things, I couldn't have the normal life that, say, an 18, 19, 20-year-old would have. So I learned very early on how to navigate through that. And throughout my life, I've had various experiences, right? And you might have had similar. I've had very restrictive a relationship dynamic, very toxic, lots of restrictions there. Lots of restrictions financially, restrictions with my health. I think at my worst, I've written about this before, where I couldn't move. So like my whole body broke down, and I was restricted, so I couldn't physically move, couldn't go out, couldn't earn money, couldn't have a social life, couldn't do any of those things. So I learned how to really create this sense of freedom, and I think that it is one of the most important skills that we can have, especially the shit show of 2020, right? So we've all been in lockdowns, you know, in and out of lockdowns, depending on where you are in the world. We've all had this sense of restriction placed upon us, right? Whatever your beliefs are around governments and things happening, that's fine. But the sense of restriction that we've all felt is a real thing, right? And we're, you know, over here in the UK at least, you know, we're in the second lockdown, and where there's a lot of uncertainty around, are we going to open back up in December? Are we going to have a freedom come Christmas or the new year, or when that freedom is going to come? So I'm a big believer in you create your own damn freedom, and it's what I've done continuously through my life. So I wanted to jump on here and share 7 steps to how do you create that. And it might be stuff you've already heard of, but let's do a recap, because it's often we forget, right? And we often need reminders, but it might be you're hearing this for the first time. So let me know if you're watching this live, because I can never see who is on. And if you're watching the replay, just put in the comments you're watching the replay, and I'll check back later, because I love to see who is joining. So, right, so let's see. So 7 steps. I'm just going to kind of take you through, and it won't be a massively long live stream. Number 1, accept what is. So bear with me before you go, oh God, you know, accept what is. When I say accept, I do not mean you're saying that it's okay. I do not mean to say that you're conceding, or saying that, you know, you're just going to give in and not fight for your rights, or whatever you're doing right now. What I mean by accept is just taking the position. This is what I did when I was ill. Is instead of fighting, and I don't mean standing up for your rights, I mean the internal energy, right? The internal energy of fighting, battling, like trying really hard. Instead of doing that all the time when you're trying to change what is happening, if you can try and get to a point where you can just say to yourself, I don't like what's happening, but I accept that it's happening, right? So when I was really ill, I didn't ever sit there and go, I love that my body doesn't work and I can only stay awake for like 45 minutes before I have to sleep for 4 hours again. I had to just go, right, I'm not going to keep fighting the fact that I've got an illness. I'm accepting that I have this illness, I don't like it. So I'm just going to be with what it is. All right. So number 1 is accept. So you don't have to like what the government's doing. You don't have to like the restrictions or the lockdown. You can even, if you need to protest or speak out or share, then do that. But what I'm talking about is the energy of, I don't like it, but I understand we're here. I'm not trying to deny the fact that we are where we are, right? Makes sense, okay? Because people take accepting as a very different kind of energy, and it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be weak or giving in. It's a very strong, admirable quality to be able to accept where you are, acknowledge it, and really like have your eyes open at the same time. All right, so accept what is. Number 2, this is an important one. Seek the meaning or create meaning from what you're experiencing. So most of the time, if you have that sense of restriction, you can be believing that it's like, why me? Why is this happening to me? You know, what's the point? This is awful, blah, 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 blah. Now, how I see it, and this is just a perspective I've always adopted, I've always been able to remind myself, and this is what I invite you to do, because it really helps, is to kind of sit back and go, right, this is happening. I don't like it. It's causing me distress. I really don't like being restricted and locked in my flipping house or whatever. But seeking the meaning, and it's whatever it means to you, and you can create the meaning that makes the most sense to you. So for example, what am I doing this year? I'm saying I don't like being in lockdown. I don't like that whole thing. It goes against my complete values of total freedom. So when I'm trying to seek the meaning, to me, the meaning is, me personally, I believe that we are going towards a much better future. We are shifting everything, right, on our planet. So the way I see it is that there is meaning in this, because even though it looks like the world's going to shit, everything's getting worse, everything's building up and becoming more scary, becoming more frightening, I can see it and I'm going, yes, but I know that in the end we're going somewhere else. So we have to have all this stuff come up so we can move forward. So to me, there's a lot of meaning in what's happening. It's not happening just for no reason. So most people go into despair and restriction when they fail to seek a meaning in what they're going through, right? There was a whole book on that, Man's Search for Meaning. Great book. Check it out if you haven't read it. And it's written by a man who's also a psychiatrist, I think, and he was in one of the concentration camps, and he was talking in this whole book about finding the meaning. And it was those people who could find meaning in their experiences that survived. Literally, it came down to survival. The people that find meaning in their experiences, they live longer, they have more purpose, they have more life force. That's what I believe. They have more life force. So seek the meaning, sit down, and really, if you have to ask yourself this question, literally create a meaning for yourself. It could even be, right, this year I get more time with my kids, or this year I don't have to commute as much, so I can have more time to have my breakfast and look after myself, and just be inside a little bit more and look after my needs. It doesn't matter what the meaning is, but to you, as long as it's a meaning, because that's where you can start to make sense of everything, and you really do get a sense of freedom. It just feels so much better. I don't know how I'd have got through my stuff without ever being able to find a meaning. So search for the meaning, whatever that is to you. Number 3, go within, right? We talk about this all the time, and I don't mean you've got to meditate. I do suggest you do, but you don't have to. It really just means go within and shut the noise out. So if you're in kind of a restricted area, or wherever you're living in the world, let's use pubs as a really good example, right? So I'm not agreeing with what's happening, but pubs are shut, and restaurants and things are shut, and we've got that physical restriction, right? It gives us an opportunity, in a way, should you choose to look at it that way, to shut the noise out, right? So you might have been, someone who goes out with their friends, and you're on the treadmill, you're working, you're doing this, you're busy all the time, and unless you have a daily practice and a real commitment to it, you're most likely going to be someone that doesn't really have the time and have the space to go within, right? We're so busy. So when you learn to go within and you shut the noise out, it really, really taps you into your inner sense of freedom. You have so much space inside of you that you don't usually access unless you deliberately sit with yourself, right? And that can be challenging depending on how you feel. So just practice that and go within. And you could meditate, you could journal, you could just spend a few minutes each day closing your eyes and breathing, whatever makes sense to you. But one of the things that I really recommend, and it's kind of, I say it's easy, but depends on how you feel about it, but it's to really have some time where you're not on social media, right? So it's so easy to mindlessly scroll. What about if you had even an hour, if you're really like on your phones and devices? What if you just had an hour every day where you shut off your phones, your laptops, all your notifications, and you just had an hour to just settle into yourself and shut the outside noise out, all the opinions, all the restrictions, all the stories, the bullshit media crap, the news, everything, and you just go within? Because that's how you can really start to create a sense of freedom. You can start with your breath, literally. That is how you can do it. You can start with just breathing and creating this kind of world within you, which I'm going to come to in a minute. So it's a really, really important thing. So if you're not, really see if you can commit to yourself to doing it, because if you're not happy where you are, you've got to change something, you've got to do something differently. Number 4, this is an interesting one. I said surrender, and at the same time decide that you will have more freedom. So that might sound like a bit of a contradiction. Often these things are. So what I'm talking about is a bit like what I said about accepting. It's like surrendering into, this is the path that we're on. We're flowing with it. We don't like it. We don't necessarily, we wouldn't choose it, but we're surrendering to the fact that we can't control certain things, right? We just can't control them. So we've got to surrender, because otherwise we're just fighting like, and I'm not talking about protesting, but I'm talking about, you could be sitting here internally fighting what the government is saying or recommending, but what can you do about it from where you are in this moment, right here and now? So if you just surrender to it and go, I don't like it, I do not like it, do not subscribe to it, but I surrender to the fact there's nothing I can do, I'm just gonna flow with it. It's like, let go of the rock and just flow through the river with it, and just see where this takes you, right? And at the same time, make a decision that you will now create more freedom, right? Because your decision is one of the most important things. You just decide You just make a decision and a choice that you will now have more freedom in whichever way you can create it, right? And today's 11/11, 11th of November, perfect day to sit down and just make a decision. Just decide that you are done with feeling restricted, you are done with giving up your freedom, you are now calling in more freedom, more openness, more adventure, whatever you want to call it, into your life. And when you decide that, it's amazing what you will start to attract in, right, in so many different ways that you wouldn't have even realized. So it's really important. So surrender, and at the same time decide. You'll have more freedom. Number 5, get into your body. So make this a daily practice. Most of the time we are stuck in our heads, right? And this was me for years before I kind of went through this whole transformation through my illness. We're stuck in our heads. Get into your body, because when we're in our head, that's where we start to get into overthinking. We have anxious thoughts. We have catastrophic thoughts, right? If you're really soaking up what's happening and what's being shared at the moment. So really get into the body. That is where your freedom is. It's all in here. If you're in here, it's like you've put yourself in this little box and you've just locked it up with a key and it's all tight and restricted. If you come out of your head and learn to get into your body, you really can feel some more joy, right? Genuinely. So whatever works for you, it might be exercise gets you into your body. It might be going for a walk, might be going through into nature, go to a park if that's nearby. It could be listening to music, dancing around, feeling the music. It could be whatever it is, like meditation, obviously, things like yoga, stretching, anything, a hug, if you're lucky enough to have hugs, stroking your pet, whatever it is, it's just getting out of your head into your body, because that is going to free you from all of this snowballing, right? Like, this is going to happen, and now the government's saying this, and now this is going to happen, and by Christmas this is going to happen, and then in the new year this is going to happen, and it spirals. So get yourself out of that. There is no freedom in that way of thinking whatsoever, right? You've got to drop into your body. It's one of the things that helped me the most at the beginning, when I had to really deal with this massive restriction physically, that I really couldn't move, right? And even in other areas of my life, and throughout this year as well. So number 6, and this is one of my favorite ones, and it's very appropriate for today, is create yourself an internal reality. So this is one of the biggest things, even if you don't do any of the other ones. Create yourself an internal reality. Be in your bubble, focus, daydream, have an adventure in your mind and your heart. Get excited about what you want to create. So one of my biggest suggestions that I can give you is actually to ignore reality. And what I mean by that, and it sounds a bit crazy maybe if you don't understand, but it doesn't mean pretend it's not happening and turn a blind eye, right? Because I love staying updated with what's happening in the world. But what I'm saying is ignore reality, as in they can be saying everything, all of the horror stories. They can be telling you laws are changing, this is where we're headed, humanity is coming over here. Whatever they can say all day long does not take away the fact that you can create your own reality. So my advice to you, and this is the biggest piece of what I have done, is to just put yourself in this bubble, protect your mind, your heart, your energy, your spirit, and focus on what you really love to do, what really lights you up. It could be what you're working on, you could be creative, it could be your business stuff, you're making things, products, writing a book, whatever it is. It could be that you're just, you're spending time with your loved ones, or you're just, you're exercising, or you're cooking more and baking. It doesn't matter what it is, but put this bubble around you and actually focus on what you want, because that is what I did when I was at my worst. And I can tell you how powerful it is that I got to the point where, even though I'll never forget, I think I wrote about this yesterday or the day before, at my worst, when I was on the sofa and my body wasn't moving, like it was, to get up to go to the bathroom was a really big deal, and my heart was racing, and it was, my body just didn't want to work, and I was housebound for quite a few years, and I got to the point where, when I created this internal reality for myself, in how I was thinking, where I was focusing, what I was listening to, what I was watching, and being very, very select, and lighting myself up in here about it, and in here in my body. I remember I was lying on the sofa watching Bear Grylls, all this like active physical stuff. I just used to like watching it because it used to remind me of the amazingness of the human body, even though my body was really kind of deteriorating and not working. And I was watching Bear Grylls and I got a sense all of a sudden, and I realized, oh my God, I'm actually really feeling magical and happy and lit up inside, even though nothing on my external reality had changed. Like I had at the time, I had not been able to work. I lost my job, my income, my relationship ended. My dad had passed away earlier that year. Um, my whole life had changed. I had no social life. I mean, I had literally zero reasons to be happy, right? And I'd even contemplated at one stage whether to check out of this life. So I'd really gone to the kind of darkest places. But because I'd practiced this, I had this feeling in that moment of, oh my God, I'm actually, it was such an epiphany because I was like, I feel like my spirit is so high and I feel so lit up and nothing about my life has changed. And it was liberating because I thought, oh my God, so if I'm starting here, everything else is just the icing on the cake, right? And when we're going around chasing our tails, we don't realize that. Sometimes it takes us to be near death, or we hear people with terminal illnesses share this with us, right? We don't get it. So I want to remind you that this isn't just fluffy, oh, it's so nice, create your own reality. I'm talking about when you actually do it, it changes your entire energy, it changes your entire outlook, how you feel, and your whole world will change. Because I tell you, when I had that, doesn't mean I stayed there all the time, but I was able to flip back in and out of this. Everything's okay. I'm okay. I'm loved. I'm supported. I've got this freedom, even though maybe I can't even go out right now. And after a while, when I had that, I practiced that. Guess what happened? Of course, my energy came back. Of course, my health started coming back, because what your cells and your system believe, it starts to become truth, right? So I'm a massive advocate in, I don't care how much restriction we've got right now, whether we're locked in our houses, right? Yeah, right. I mean, they're not going to get away with that, but locking us up in our houses, restricting us in every possible way that they can find. But the one thing they can't control is our inner world. That is where your freedom lies. So I'm so passionate about this. So if you ignore everything else I say, do this number, was it number 5, number 6? Where are we? Number 6, right? Create yourself an internal reality, because I am walking testament that this works. It absolutely categorically works, right? It's just most people, they kind of look at it and go, oh, it's kind of dreamy and wishy-washy and it doesn't really work. Well, it does. Try it, okay? And what you're also doing on that is you're choosing a higher timeline. So it's a good thing to talk about. I wasn't going to talk about it, but it's just coming now, and we are 11:11. So if you think about what it means to be on a higher timeline, all it means is you're where you are now. There are multiple times. So imagine, like, in front of you, you've got these like lines. There are multiple timelines going out in front of you. So you can travel down any one of those, and each of these has an outcome, right? So nothing's fixed. But what we do, we have multiple options. So all we've got to do is line ourselves up with the timeline that we want to travel down. So if you want to get all kind of freaked out about, oh my God, the world's gone to shit and doom and gloom and it's apocalyptic and we're all going to be wiped out in 3 years and whatever, and you align yourself with that and you stay in that and you read the stuff and you believe it and you're almost accepting it, even though you don't like it and you're fearing it, all you're doing is lining yourself up vibrationally. It's not that you really want to, it's just you're lining yourself up vibrationally, and then you're traveling down that path. It's exactly like if you go down your street and you turn right to go to that shop, that's where you're going to go, right? But if you wanted to, you could turn left and go to another shop. It's the same thing. So what we want to do today is like remind ourselves on 11th day of the 11th month of which timeline do you want to travel. I take it you don't want to travel down that bullshit timeline. I certainly don't. So which timeline do you want? and you can go down another one. And for me, it's like I want a timeline of creating more in my business, working with more people, making an impact. I want to write my book, my first book, get that out there, followed by other books. I want to create courses and programs and ways of working. There's so many things I want to create and put out into the world, right? I want to call in my soulmate tribe. I want to meet and connect with people that are really of the same mind as me, because I've really elevated this year. All of these things. So I'm choosing my timeline. I'm going over here. And that's where I'm headed, right? And all you've got to do is line yourself up with what is the timeline you choose, right? Some of the timelines are lower because they're heavier, low vibration. Other timelines are higher. The way to know which timeline you're on is just to check out, how does it feel? Are you on a timeline right now that just feels restrictive and fearful and scary? Well, the reason you are, and that's okay, it's just because you're focused on things that are creating that feeling. All right, it's not, and the good news is it's not happening for nothing. It's really just where you're focused. So it's no criticism, but you can just bring yourself off that anytime you want. You can jump tracks in this moment right now, right? You don't have to sit and do a kind of ceremony. Jump tracks right now. Decide, click your fingers and decide, go, right, I don't like the timeline I'm on, I'm going to go over here. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing more complicated than that. There's no mystical kind of esoteric stuff. It's like, just choose the timeline and then align with that and do all the things that help you kind of go on that track, right? That's it. So that's creating your own reality. That is how you have a sense of freedom. It doesn't matter what's happening outside. You'll trust that you're okay. Right? I trust that I'm okay. I'm not going to be taking certain things that are offered. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm not going to worry about how. I'm just going to decide I'm on this timeline. So that timeline is going to take me to the destination that I want. So I don't need to worry about the how. I just need to travel and trust that doors will open, things will move, and I'll navigate through it. That's all we ever have to do. We don't have to worry about the how. We really don't. It's not all on us. We've got a whole universe and support guides and all sorts of things and people and energies around us to help you, right? So you're not on your own. So number 7, last one, is gratitude, right? So gratitude can make you kind of roll your eyes sometimes if you're not feeling it. I'm talking about genuine gratitude, not forced. So gratitude, really, you can sit down, write this out anytime you need to, and just express gratitude for all that you have right now, all that you've learned so far, and all that's waiting for you in the future. So gratitude was something I practiced massively when I was, like I said, like really, really ill, housebound. I started to practice every day. I'd write down, I think, 10 things when I could write. 10 things, or I used to tell myself 10 things, what can I choose to be grateful for? And I started to run out of things because I used the obvious stuff first. And then I started going deep. So I started having to be grateful for my eyes, that I can see, because I thought, well, if I was ill and then I also then lost my sight, that would be pretty damn crap. So thank God I can see. Thank God my heart beats and I've got no issue with it, right? God, I've got 2 legs, I've got like 2 arms, 2 whatever, right? Go wherever you need to go. But if you express gratitude, and you've heard this before, I'm just reminding you, express gratitude, then it helps you go onto this timeline. And it sets you up vibrationally with what you want, right? And it creates that sense of freedom. It gets you out of this stuck, restrictive, kind of heavy energy. And all of these 7 things are stuff that you can do inside of you, right? So make sure that you are practicing and make sure that you're tuning in and checking with what you need, right? Because this stuff works. I felt magical, alive, lit up, excited, in total freedom during times of absolute restriction, when I was pregnant, when I was a single mother, very young, having to study, having my baby at home and couldn't leave the house. I was like, wasn't living the life typical of my age at all. Lots of responsibility, loads of lessons from that, but it was hard at the time, right? I've had great feelings throughout, like, horrible situations when I've come through them. Illnesses, like I said, money troubles, financial issues, yeah, so many challenges. So this stuff works. You can absolutely, I 100%, I'm going to sit here and say you can create freedom, even though there is restriction after restriction after restriction, because these restrictions aren't going to be there forever, and nothing out there can alter what is going on in here, in your heart, in your body, in your energy field. Nothing can come into this energy field unless you invite it and unless you allow it. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And today of all days, it's 11:11. So really, really use today's energy to focus on what do you want. Make a cup of tea or something, sit down, daydream, write it out, imagine, fantasize, see it in your mind, play with it, have some fun, and really ask yourself, what the hell do I want? And what do I want to create right now? Right? So, on that note, if you, I'll just pop a comment in here because I have got my online course, Road Trip. I'll pop the link there. We start next Monday. Doors close this Friday, and it's about taking you on a road trip. It doesn't matter about restrictions, to create this sense of freedom. Right, that's my highest value. It might be yours as well. And I'm going to take you on a journey of really finding out, deep dive into yourself. It's going to be so much fun. Blow your mind. Magical insights, activations, remembrances, all sorts of work, over 11 days. So it's 11 days of content, but I'm going to spread it out a few days in between. So we're going to have about a month together in a private group. Questions, coaching, I'll be there, and you're going to go on this journey if you choose to come along. It's going to be so magical. So check out, there's so much there. I'm excited. So check out the link in the comments. I think I've pinned it. Hold on. I don't know if I can. I'll check it afterwards. I might be able to pin the comments. Oh yeah. Yeah, so it should be there. And you can check that out if that is for you, because that is all about freedom. That's why I created it. It's like, how can we go on a trip, right? I'm so dying to go on a trip. How can we go on a trip? We'll go on a road trip together. We'll do it from our homes. We'll do it energetically. And you will go on this journey to find out more about yourself. And even if you think you know about yourself, I love when I do some of this stuff with clients. They think they know what their values are, and then they do some work and some exercises, and they're like, oh my god, I didn't realize that I thought I was like this, and really I'm like this. So there's so many aha moments, epiphanies, all sorts of magical things. Okay, so check that out, and if you want to join me, please do. It's a really good value as well. And yeah, doors close Friday, so check that out. And also, if you are not in my group and you watch this, come and join. So it's called the Awake Revolution private group. So just do a search, and I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock doing some card readings. And if you watch the replay afterwards, you can always come in and join afterwards, because the replays are there, and I'll be doing those a little bit more regularly as well. All right, so I hope that gave you a few things to think about, because there is no reason for you to feel this restriction right now. It's just an illusion. I'm not saying it's not happening, but it is still an illusion of that's where we're going to go, and we are not going to go that way. There's so much freedom, and this is our opportunity to go deeper into ourselves, expand our consciousness more than we've ever done before. Most people don't know their true power. They've forgotten. And I'm here to help you remember. I'm here to help you wake up to it. And I'm also here to help you drop the baggage and completely revolutionize how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're creating, and then what results you get in your life and what you attract into your life, whatever that is, whatever you're creating. All right. So I typically, I'm very creative, adventurous, and if you're that way, come on board. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you more as well in the group. All right, so that's it from me. Gonna have a cup of tea or something now, chill out for a little bit, and then I'm going to do some magical card readings, because I can feel the energy today. It's so strong. There's magic in the air, okay, irrespective of what the bloody news is telling you. And if you are watching it, switch the damn thing off and focus on what really lights you up. All right, so lots of love to you. Thank you for watching. I can't see who is watching, so thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Oh, Tracy, hi Tracy. I didn't know that was you. Oh, you're welcome. I hope you're well. I think you're in the group, aren't you? Yeah, so I'll see you later. Yeah, so yeah, so lots of love, right? And just remember, you can absolutely create your asses off. Doesn't matter. Doesn't restriction is just it's an illusion. It does not have to stop you. All right, I promise you. You can use it to your advantage. Actually, you really can. All right, so take care, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.